Welcome everyone to another Tracks on Sundays. I'm Trax Max, and this is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are going to pull some shards again, but I didn't want to make this video only about that because last week was already shard video, and next week will probably also be a shard video because it's a 2x sacreds next week. But we do need to pull shards for our beloved, where is he? Oh, there you are. Mighty Uko over here. So I might as well fit that in there too, because I noticed from last week that you guys really enjoy watching shard pull videos. So hey, we'll give you guys what you want. So I'll do a little bit of that, but what I also want to point out is or actually address, is one of the things that I do on my free-to-play accounts and somewhat even on this account to make these fusions a bit easier as a free-to-play. My main isn't a free-to-play, but it's a very low spend account, okay? So for the other accounts that I manage that are free-to-play, if I want to go for a fusion, there's a tactic that I use, there's some general rules that I follow, and that has actually allowed me to do any fusion that I chose to do. But we'll get into that after we do our shard pulls, okay? So stay tuned for that if you're interested in that, or skip ahead to that part if you don't want to see the shard pulls. First, let's take a look here at Mighty Uko, shall we? I highly recommend to get this guy if you can. He is pretty bonkers. To start off, he has an AoE attack down, 75% chance when booked. That's insane already. On my account, I don't even have that many great attack down champions, or at least not built out. And the ones I do have are like 75% chance AoE on the A2, like a rearguard surgeon, for instance. So yeah, this is on an A1. Pretty nutty. The A2 attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 75%, books up to 100% chance to remove 2 random buffs from the target. Each hit. That means 4 buffs from each target. And it places a block buffs debuff and a 50% decrease accuracy debuff for 2 turns on targets that have no buffs after the attack. So it strips everyone, and then it's like, now you get a block buff as well, and decrease accuracy for the sake of it. Why not? Just throw that in there too. This is insane, okay? This is a buff strip with a block buffs. So not only are you losing all your buffs, there's no buffs coming onto you either anymore, right? I'm saying it places block buffs 80-90% of the time, right? Because most of the time you're not going to really have more than 4 buffs up anyway. Well, at least not in things like Arena, for instance. So if he gets a shot at his thing, he's going to be placing block buffs. And you don't need to steal the buffs to place the block buffs. Say you're faster. In the arena, you're faster, for instance. And he gets to go first. He just straight up places the block buffs and the decreased accuracy. Which means, I mean, that's kind of like a win. You know, there's nothing bad about this move, really. I don't, or if there is, I'm not seeing it. I guess you could say, well, if you have more than 4 buffs, it's pretty bad. But I mean, that is so uncommon that it's really hard to put up more than 4 buffs. And even putting up 4 buffs are very specific champions. And not only that, but his passive does something which also makes it harder for the enemy to actually have more than 4 buffs. So that's the A1, pretty nutty. The A2, very nutty. And then the A3, to top it off, revives all dead allies with 40% HP, then places a block damage buff on them for 1 turn. Block damage, you guys probably know already how much I love that thing. Block damage is insane. You can do so many things with it. It is used for unkillable clan boss teams. It can help you progress through things in the Doom Tower where you have like the Nether Spider or whatever it's called, where it places all the poisons. Block damage, you don't take poison damage if you have block damage on you, okay? You don't care about things like the Valkyrie counterattacking or anyone counterattacking for that matter. It's all blocked. Blocked, blocked, blocked. Doesn't do any damage. It also places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Will place the increased speed buff even if there are no dead allies. Well, this means you can also just use this as a speed boost. If no one's dying, everything's fine, well, then it's just a speed boost. The passive here, because these 3 moves were not enough, they had to give us a funky passive that is actually also insane. Totem Warden has a 50% chance of stealing 1 random buff from an enemy each time they receive a buff. Any stolen buffs become protected. Oh. Okay, so we'll throw out the most obvious thing out there because, well, that's where it's also going to be, the most powerful place where this is going to be a thing. If the enemy has a Siphi the Lost Bride, what does Siphi the Lost Bride do? Well, she throws up increased defense, block, debuffs, and a speed buff on all allies. That's 3 buffs. This dude is going to have a 50% chance of stealing 1 of those from each of those champions that she places on. Mind you, he cannot steal a buff that he stole from someone else. So if he steals the increased defense from Siphi, for instance, he cannot steal that from the Rhodos that is sitting right next to her. He can steal the speed from the Rhodos or the block debuffs, but he can't steal like each one. But this is very good. Don't get me wrong, this is very good because the buffs that he steals are also protected, cannot be stolen back, cannot be stripped. He has them for the duration that they were still on. So very, very good. And then increase speed in all battles by 20%. Speed aura, all battles, that's always fantastic. Makes him usable anywhere in the game, really. So this is, I think, he's probably S tier. I think he's S tier. Book-wise, he needs 10, I believe. Yeah. But since we have a quick thing to talk about after all this, I guess I'll just get to the shard pulls themselves. I want to keep as many sacreds as I can for next week because it's a 2x next week. But there is something special going on today, or this weekend at least. These epics are good, but I don't care about them too much. I have all 3 of them. Rector is fantastic if you don't have her. And you are struggling anywhere in the game. I recently used her to clear the hard Doom Tower, where she was phenomenal. She was the only champion I had at 60 that has a attack down on the A1, which was huge for the Eternal Dragon. Also with the resistance buff that she gives everyone and everything. Fantastic champion. I love Rector Draft. I think she's way up there with the best epics in the game. But what I would really like, because I'm kind of greedy, right, is a second Duchess. I have a Duchess, but I want another Duchess for many reasons. First off, making my faction guardians better. I only have a dupe Candraphon sitting in there right now. I would love to eventually expand that, and what better way to do that than with champions that you're actually going to use, right? Because right now the dupe Candy I'm not really doing much with. I know I can, but I'm just haven't gotten to it yet. There's a lot of things I want to build, so it's more of a so much to do, so little time kind of issue. But Duchess, I think, would get priority over almost anything, even though she would be my second one, because she's fantastic in Hydra, and she would make 3v3 so much easier. I don't expect anything here, because I'm far away from Mercy, so We'll see what we get. My sacreds, I also don't expect anything, but if I get a Duchess, cha-ching, you know. So let's see what we get here. 10 pop. Let's go, 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 go. It's probably going to be all blues. Leech. Decent for faction wars. I didn't have one anymore, so maybe you could use this one right here. If I don't find a way to complete that. I'm also looking for a Gorgorab and a Geomancer, because I don't have either of those. And Geomancer's value just keeps on going up. I'm still kicking myself for not getting the 40 shards back then. I was actually free to play at that moment still, and I did not want to spend anything on the game. So, yeah, I should have spent back then, because meanwhile I have spent, so there you go. I don't want to encourage anyone to spend, by the way, but it's just what happened for me. Also, I'm not going to go over these champions, all of them again. I did a bit of that last week, but I want to also really get to the point of what I was saying before the video, well, before the shard pulls, about free to play. Okay, so these 9 ancients real quick. I don't really expect anything. This is just probably going to be points for this fusion, and that's fine. They're also chickens, so I'll hold on to most of them until we have a training event. What is this? Sanguinia. I don't think I had her yet. And for some reason, this gal has been popping up in a lot of videos recently. A lot of people talking about her. Block debuffs on all allies. Continuous heal. 3-turn cooldown. Actually, X one enemy 3 times. Each hits 20% of decrease in duration of random buffs. He's fine, I guess. I don't know. Medicus was from a fusion. Our beloved War Priest. One of the most fed champions, I think. Thought it was Jizzo at first, but for our other friend, but it's Slither. I think he's for the fusion, or the rosin fusion. I'm not completely sure. Wretch. And the last blue is a adjudicator. So a bunch of chickens, basically. But here are the sacreds, and this is hopefully where the gold's at. Hey, a second Royal Guard. Now that's not too shabby. I have one built out, and I have one husk built out. I have a second husk waiting for the moment that I can afford to build him. But now a second Royal Guard, I'll take it. I've seen some crazy teams with double Royal Guard, like 12-second Minotaur, that kind of stuff. Really neat. So yeah, sure. I will definitely take that. Dr. Pierce, very good. Epic. But I already have him. I'm not looking for him. Bucci. Some old school Warcaster builds for Doom for Sanguinia. Again. Some old school Warcaster Demon Lord builds is what I was trying to say. Some clan boss builds used Bushi as the stun target, so when he died he pops back up, and then on a 3-turn cooldown could keep that going. I think there's one more shard to be pulled, and I'm afraid that is the last one. So this is just the reality of what happens on a non-2x, right? Sargala is actually my first Sargala on this account, which is very weird, but Yeah, I did not pull her yet. Okay, so let's take a look at these points. I'm pretty sure I'll be at 3,000 something. 3,393. So I will be doing the rest of these with my mystery shards, and then I will show you something that can help the free to plays out, okay? I was going to do it on my alt account, but I can actually just show it right here, right now that I'm here anyway. So, why is the Summon Rush actually pretty good to start off with if you're a free to play or a low spender? Now, I believe usually I liked it to be the other way around, because in the Summon Chase um you could calculate better how many shards that you would need, or if you could actually complete the fusion, right? Because in the Summon Chase, if you're not completely sure if you're going to get there with the points that you have, uh, you could still decide, okay, this isn't going to work out. I don't want to go for this fusion anymore, and you can control the damage a little bit, right? Uh, However, with a Summon Rush, if you get the points and you end up without any shards left, for instance, or very little, and that amount of shards is supposed to get you the points in the Summon Chase, but somehow you pull, like I did with my Ancients, basically you pull almost only rares. Your mystery shards don't pull any rares, and your voids don't pull anything else than rares. You could end up in a position where that you're not getting your points that you need for the fusion, and it can be frustrating sometimes, right? Well, um, if you have the Summon Chase first, you know what you're up for, right? You can say you can see the road ahead if it's going to work out for you or not. Because a Summon Rush, you can to the to the last point, you can actually figure it out how much you're going to need. If you have these shards, can you get these shards, etc. With the Summon Chase, this isn't the case if you're not hoarding any fragments. If you're hoarding fragments, like I am right here, I have quite a few epics, and then a Yakarl, so I have some backup. I can summon all these dudes and get some easy points if I need them. But if you don't have that stacked up for you, it's kind of hard to know if you're going to get there with the shards that you have. So why I kind of like to summon Rush before the Summon Chase for a free to play, or at least how I utilize that scenario, is I will come in here, I will buy all these mystery shards, and I'll start slowly pulling these mystery shards, right? Just opening them. And what we're looking for is all these dudes. All of these champions right here. These 8 champions. That's what we're looking for. To be able to do this, a Metal Shaper, that's a good rare. If you're on a free to play, that's a very good pull. To be able to do this, you're going to have a lot of silver though, okay? So you want silver for your enchantment event, but you also want silver to be able to do these kind of things, to do these summons. And we're going to be feeding these champions into the champions that we've pulled. And eventually what we want to be doing is, like you see here, okay, my thing is full, but as you see here, 1 2 3 4, then I have more over here that I still need to level up and I still need to ascend. what these champions will be doing, I think this is the full set. Yeah. So these are the 8. So this, if I level these up and I ascend them, this is going to be 100 points right off the bat for the champion chase, right? So what you can do, and like you see, I still have a lot of room in my reserve vault, is you start collecting these guys by summoning your mystery shards. Summoning mystery shards is already a kind of a pain in the behind. So the way I do this then on my free to plays is I grab this guy, for instance, and I just start feeding all these guys into him. This is going to cost quite some silver. Probably make sure to have about 3 to 5 million silver, I'd say, to get this done. But just start building all these guys to 30. Get them ready, put them in your reserved vault, and you'll have a ton of points to whip out immediately when this starts, right? Okay. Did that make a lot of room? Yeah. So this is all just food. We're just looking for those 8. This is a lot of work though. It takes time, it takes effort. But as a free to play, you don't really have the luxury to choose what you do. Like, they're not handing this to you on a plate. Plarium considers a legendary to be about worth of $200 basically. So, you'll have to do something to get this. But this is a very, very convenient way to do it. And because it's Summon Rush, you can build this up during the Summon Rush and have it ready for the champion chase. Now, you can also do this during the champion chase, but sometimes I feel like you might not have enough time and stuff to do that. Here you go. You ascend them. One thing to look out for here is this is pretty intensive on your potions, okay? I remember trying to do this in the beginning when I had this account. I tried to do this every single fusion, and after 2 fusions, I didn't have any small potions anymore. They were just all gone. It's not something I recommend doing every single fusion, but it is a quick way to get this done, even if you didn't have all the shards you normally would have needed, right? So that champion, we can just throw him into the vault. We'll train him when the training event is going on. There you go. So let's see here. Do we have any more of these that we can level up? Otherwise, we just take these guys. Oh, there we have this one, and this one. Okay. There you go. Slowly level these dudes up. Use 2 stars. Doesn't matter. You're going to have to use the 2 stars as well. Anyway, just level as many sets of these dudes up as you can. If you have 12, you get 150 extra points. 16 is 200 extra points. In the beginning, when I was playing this game, I would knock out 450 to 500 extra points just by doing this. And to get the fragments on a champion chase is usually somewhat the same as a Summer Rush. So here it's 2,150. That's actually a lot for the 5 fragments. Usually it's around 1,700, I think, right here. But I think that's probably where you're going to find the 5 fragments in the champion chase. It could also be the 2,150. But I mean, if you're knocking out 500 points already by doing something like this, and maybe, maybe you actually have these 2 champions like I do as well, which I will probably just be doing just to get these things out of the way. because I've been holding on to him for a long time, and I kind of want to hold on to Sacreds a bit longer too. I have a feeling that there's going to be a guaranteed Sacreds pretty soon that might actually blow us out of our socks. So I don't want to be a sitting duck and have no Sacreds left for that. So I'm actually really considering just using 2 Broadmoss. Now, again, this tactic will only work if you have potions, silver, and time. But again, if you're doing this free to play or very low spend, you don't have, the luxury that someone with a Visa has. You have a credit card, you can just swipe through a machine and it doesn't matter for you. Well, you can do whatever you want, I guess. But for someone like myself, I really like this tactic. Even though it's a lot of work, it is also very satisfying that you didn't have to spend all the money on it. And I've done this a lot of times. I think I booked half my Broadmaw with copies of himself by doing it this way. So I've picked up a couple of these, and I'm just holding on to them for future events where I want to make. Same thing with this cow over here. So yeah. So these will cost 300,000, I believe, to make, and will be 50 points each. And this guy will be 250 points, I think, or is it 350 points? I think it's 250 points, but it could be 350. It's going to cost me some time and effort, yes, sure. But I'll be halfway there almost, right? Like, so that's the way I think you should try and go at this. There's also the Relic Keeper. I'm not that much of a fan of the Relic Keeper though, because it requires you to make level 40s. Well, this only requires level 30, so you're not really investing that much into them. See? You make these level 30s. You don't need to level them up to 40. Like these, you don't need 3-star chickens to put into these and then level this thing up. I don't know. I like this one more. This one, however, you can obtain completely for free all the time. While here, you can't obtain Broadmaw all the time. You do need these champions from Void Shards, or the first time from 3v3 Arena if you haven't done that yet. But you can just snag up these 50 points very easily, right? And I've done that a lot too. Just make a couple of these. It lowers the bar for you. It makes it easier to obtain the points you need to get the fragments and to get awesome champions such as Mighty Uko. I hope this all helped you guys. If there's any questions, remarks, whatever, I'm glad to hear them. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about it. Are you going for Mighty Uko? I highly recommend you do. And I will see you next week for the 2x Sacreds, where hopefully we'll pull some good stuff together. See you next week. Ciao.